administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
The person who played in Spain for Barcelona is Lionel Messi, who is ending his career in the USA, and they appreciate him.
Yeah.
They appreciated you in the USA. Mm-hmm. You've rocked the nation verbally today.
Wow. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to hear that. Let me not cry. Let me not cry and drink some water. Yes, people.
We don't want the tears, man. We don't want the tears. I mean, you have achieved more than most.
Wow.
She strides in here, bodyguards and all. And I'm thinking, hey, Nomvula Khwale, what is going on?
Tata Rob.
Yeah. But Tata, let's leave it for those who are now officially on Sasa Grants.
Oh, wow. I get to meet the real Robert Marawa.
Is there a false one?
I don't think so. There shouldn't be, but man, I don't know. I can't explain to words. Out of this world. South African people, I'm so glad that I met Robert Marawa today. My application has been accepted. Thank you.
Has been approved. Hey.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW. Friday nights, always.
This is how we do it.
About our beloved legends. Pull up your chair. Let's chat legendary stuff. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
That's the beautiful thing about Fridays, is that it really takes us to a place that we all love. It takes us to a place that we all want to be a part of. And when you hear that, when you hear it say that it is Legends Night, no doubt, please believe it, because not every former player is a legend. I think we need to get that out of the way. There are certain people that really strive for so much more, that have accomplished so much more. And that's why I always say, not every former player is a legend. And that is why you will appreciate why today we celebrate. We're excited. I think this entire building has been excited just from his presence in it. I want to take you back to earlier days. I want to take you to the 90s. Football back then was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And if you were privileged enough to watch this man right at the beginning of his career, you'll agree with me that his finest hour, if you go back to the 1998 World Cup, I mean, it didn't come as a standout player in a successful or groundbreaking team, but rather as a performer of rare individual excellence. I mean, that lineup, it flattered to deceive. And I'm taking you to France 98. I mean, that represented a premature unraveling of Nigeria's golden generation, the greatest team Africa's most populous country has ever known. And I'm not just saying that. Ultimately, the landmark summer for this legend who made the squad of the tournament. What bravery and confidence that he possessed. And he still does, just in his dapper suits these days. I mean, he's the most fashionable football player that I know. During his heydays, though, it was his dribbling wizardry. He almost turned this magical, metaphysical characteristic into something tangible. But confidence dripped off his boots as he skipped past defender after defender, quick feet and even quicker imagination. And he never scaled to the uppermost echelons of European football summit, one could argue. But grounds that he graced on the continent and the hearts that he touched back home in Africa, I mean, we'll remember him as one of the greatest in the sport. Augustine Azuka Okocha is my guest here tonight, JJ Okocha, as we all know him. Good to see you, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Sure. You might as well join us here. We love to have you in South Africa. What do we have to pay to make sure that you stay behind?
Well, I think I found a second home here. I'm always here, you know. I'm at home here. Yeah. I love it here. I feel so welcome. And it's such an honor to be here, you know, and I love it here.
I think people love you too because of what you brought. I think you've learned now, post-retirement, what football does to people. I think you realize now how people appreciated what you did. You might not have realized it at the time. I think when you're playing football, yeah, you see, okay, people love you, they run after you, want to take photos and stuff. But what has football post-retirement meant to you?
I mean, like you rightly said, when you're at your peak, you think it's normal. You think that the love that people are showing you is normal. But when you retire and people still show you love, that's when you start appreciating, the effort that you've put in, I always say that as a person, it's important to win hearts. No matter what your profession is, if you can win hearts, then you've done well.
That's an important way of looking at it, to win hearts. Which hearts do you think you managed outside of the Nigerian population? Obviously, when you represented the Super Eagles, they loved what that golden generation did. But when you realized that you touched hearts in South Africa, in Ghana, in Egypt, and across the world, what does that do to JJ?
Well, I mean, it's difficult for me to find the right word to explain it, because it overwhelms me, the kind of love that I receive from people, even in some places that I don't expect it, even some places that I think I'll walk past, without anyone noticing that I'm the one, So it is great. It is amazing, and I am very grateful for that.
When you go back and a younger JJ Okocha, was football always part of the family? Was football something that inspired? Were you the first in the family to venture into the sport?
Not at all. Football has been in the family. My father claimed that he played.
Oh, claimed.
Because I said claimed because we never saw his video.
No evidence.
No evidence, But maybe because then things were different, And of course, I could tell that he played because of the way he encouraged us. I've got two brothers, and both of them played. One even played for the national team. But then I think they inspired me, because the rivalry was already in the family, So we were trying to be better than each other, And at the end of the day, I think I managed to take the name to another level.
I was about to ask, then who of the brothers and father do you think was the best? And I think you've just answered that.
No, I think it's obvious.
It's like case closed. No argument. But going, and I'd love to take the journey. I know that there was life before Germany. But landing up in Germany for you, was there an agent? Were they scouts? How did that all happen? Because people constantly ask, how did JJ Okocha end up in Germany?
I mean, that's what is special about my story,
Yeah.
Because it was not really planned. I just finished secondary school, signed for a local team, Enugu Rangers, which for me was like a dream for every kid that was interested in playing football then, where I grew up in Enugu. And then my brother got an invitation for me to go to Germany for a holiday because one of his friends were playing there for a third division club in Germany. And then I took that offer because Germany just won the World Cup then.
Yeah.
So I went, and of course, as a football lover, I always go everywhere with my football shoes.
Yes.
So
Ready for action.
So when I got to Germany, I was staying with my brother's friend. One day I went to training with him, and I asked the coach if I could train with them. He said, well, yeah, you can. Why not? So I think they were all surprised, even my brother's friend. after the training, the coach asked me if I could come back the next day. So he was blown away with what he saw. So I said, why not? So the next day I went back. It got even worse,
Yeah.
And I ended up training with them for like 2 weeks, and they offered me a contract.
Wow.
And that was how my career started in Europe.
So when you say unplanned, that is unplanned because you just went there and you had your boots there and you saw a round ball. Like, yeah, let me go kick.
Exactly, because I went with a visiting visa. I had to go back home and now get like work permit before my move was made permanent.
But the club helped you because they wanted you to sign immediately.
Oh yeah. I mean, for them as well, it was a good deal because they got me for free. They didn't pay anything for me, and I was barely 18 then.
Well, I hope they made up for it by the salary that they gave you.
Not really, how how cheeky they can be. Here is an African player, unknown player with no agent. He has the desire to stay as well.
Yeah.
We might as well, offer him just enough to stay, or to get by.
But when you look back at that, do you believe, though, that they took advantage of that? And had you been with an agent, had you been with a representative of some sort, you would have been able to gain so much more?
No, not at all. I always look at the positive side, because all I needed was an opportunity. I could see the bigger picture, and I could see the bigger opportunity if I do well. For me, I needed a place to start, and that was a perfect place for me to have started.
Fascinating conversations that one usually has with African players who go and play. I mean, obviously at this stage, we haven't spoken about going to the higher division. You're still playing in the lower division. How are you finding the whole cultural switch over from what you're used to Germans who from time to time people say, there's a racist part of Germany, up until even in recent times, you still see it in Champions League. You see it in Russia, you see it in Germany and so on. How are you accepted at that stage?
Well, at the beginning now, I will confess that it was difficult. You're in a new place, no friends, no family. You can't even understand the language, But I found my freedom on the pitch. Whenever I'm on the pitch, it's like I'm free. It's like I've got the right to express myself. And I quickly realized that was the reason why I was there, to play football. And whatever happens off the pitch, I will not take that goal of mine away, and I try to ignore whatever that happens off the pitch,
So I take it from what you're saying, JJ, that your teammates were very supportive, but it was just the society outside of football that maybe were acting differently or being unkind.
They have no choice but to be nice to me, otherwise they won't get the ball. But of course, it's not everybody that can be your friend as well,
Yeah.
But they've got no choice, especially when you're the playmaker of the team. You're needed.
Because you could keep the ball all to yourself. You could use it from the back, go into midfield, go all the way forward.
I mean, that was my gift.
Yeah.
I can decide to be selfish and keep it as long as I want and buy fouls or whatever, if I don't want to lose it.
That is crazy. But do you think there was a recognition of your talent? And why I say that is that I think I remember Glenn Hoddle when he came to South Africa, Tottenham Hotspur coach at the time, playing against an Orlando Pirates team. And, Glenn Hoddle, because, the players started turning on the magic. They started doing, your JJ Okocha type of magic to them. Yeah. And he would say at a post-match interview that the players are being disrespectful, because he didn't take kindly to the kind of trickery that they had. Was that the same, or there's more appreciation for what you were doing?
Well, I think some people were against it, especially if you're an opponent.
Yes.
If it's not going in your favor, you won't like it. I mean, imagine if we are leading 2-0 or 3-0 and there's 5 minutes to go. That's where I use my natural gift to win the game for my team. I will delay the match. I'll keep possession. I'll buy fouls and all that. And if you're the manager of the opposing team, you won't like it. I think it's important also to learn when and how to use it for your team and not overdo it. But it comes with a risk as well, because
listen to you saying don't overdo it. We have seen clips of you
overdoing it sometimes.
Overdoing it.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why I'm human as well. You get carried away sometimes,
which is beautiful, because that's why those clips now, JJ, on a new media platform of TikTok, are making the rounds all over again. People are watching it. Millions of people liking what you were doing to poor Oliver Kahn back in those days. That says something.
Well, yes. I mean, I realized when I went to Europe that I need to have an identity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I won't be special. Otherwise, there won't be any difference between the home-based players and you being a foreigner. How would they sign you? How would they accept you if you're the same?
Yeah.
Like they are. So I realized that it is important to maintain that African, identity.
In the same way that a Ronaldinho would identify with the Brazilian way, would add his spice and take it to big stages in Europe, Spain, you name it. When we come back from the break, we continue a fascinating conversation. Our guest here tonight is JJ Okocha. You know him. You can send your WhatsApp voice notes. Any questions or comments? I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments as well.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW. Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Nomvula Khwale, being treated like an outsider by, I would imagine, what, your teammates?
First of all, language barrier. I didn't know Spanish at all when I went there. I arrived in the team and everybody had gelled. Then everybody's like, who's this? We thought we are complete for the season. The main reason why I left my first team, Casareño Femenino, was because the entire team, the girls, they just conspired that they couldn't play with me. And the coach said, I've decided that I'm just going to let you go because the girls feel like this. And I was told that today, and I had to leave 2 days after.
It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway.
#MSW. #MSW.
Yeah, we are back. JJ Okocha. What does that remind you of, sir?
Well,
Hey,
I mean, great memories.
any particular one that it takes you back to?
That's Champions League.
Turkey, a little bit?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we broke Man United's home record.
Yeah,
Fenerbahce.
yeah. And they haven't stopped. I think there's something about Man United and Turkish teams. I think you saw a couple of weeks ago, Man United were having another tough time.
Yeah, Galatasaray.
Yeah.
Did the damage as well. I mean, it's always great to play against Man United because you most of the time be the underdog.
Yeah.
So you've got nothing to lose.
Is that for you the greatest competition, football-wise, club football-wise, in the world?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's not called Champions League for nothing. You know, you're playing against champions in their own right as well. You know, if you're playing against the first best four teams in every league,
Yeah.
you know, it is tough and it's exciting. You know, as a player, that's where you want to be. You want to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
You want to prove that you belong there. You belong amongst the best.
Do you believe, though, comparatively, because we've also got the Champions League on the African continent, that one day we'll get the kind of exposure, the kind of, I mean, what we're talking about now, it being the greatest, given how many African players are now playing in Europe. But here in Africa, yes, there is the Champions League, but it's not as big as what we see in Europe. What do we still need to do, JJ?
We need to strengthen our own local leagues.
Yeah.
You know, that's where our weaknesses lie. You know, not playing enough competitive football locally.
Yeah.
You know, automatically affects the standard of our Champions League. So I think we have to improve our local leagues.
Now, I want to take you back, and I don't know how much of this you remember.
Open to Bolton. But it will be Okocha. Oh, and he scored! Thomas Sorensen completely rock-footed. And JJ Okocha's decision to stay on and play in this semi-final first leg has been very, very quickly justified. The wall was ineffective, but the free kick was absolutely lethal from the Nigerian superstar. Thomas Sorensen can't be too sure what to expect. Gotti and Davis hoping to thrive on any scraps that might appear. Yuri Djorkaeff and Okocha. Oh! Fantastic! It really was worth waiting. He was very keen to stay for this semi-final rather than travel off to the African Nations Cup, delaying that until tomorrow. And how relieved Bolton must be. This is simply awesome. Power and accuracy. It simply fizzed past Thomas Sorensen. Beaten on his near post. And beaten twice now by the magic of JJ Okocha.
The magic of JJ Okocha, power and accuracy. Hey, I saw you smile there when you were listening to that. Hey, what was going through your mind? Visualizing?
Well, yeah, I mean, it brought back a lot of memories, you know. That was special,
Yeah.
you know, because Bolton was such a small team in England, you know, and for us to have taken the club to another level, that was semi-final of Carabao Cup against Aston Villa. I had to delay my journey to AFCON
Yes.
because of that game, to see if I can help and give us a good advantage, you know, before joining my national teammates. And yeah, luckily I scored 2 goals and we got a good margin, you know, that helped, you know.
But it's a free kick double.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of my
Specialities. Huh?
specialities, you know. because I could strike the ball.
But when you go back to that year, I mean, that's 2004. And I think you even had a broader smile when you started hearing the fans singing, because that's what they do. You come in as a player, and then they will create a song for you. What did that mean to you as a player? And you're looking at all these fans in the grandstand singing your name like that.
I mean, it means the world to me, you know. It means everything for a player, you know. I think, especially English fans, they love their football and they understand their football. And what they cherish is a player that plays from his heart. You know, yes, you can have a bad day, but once you're giving it your all, they see that and they appreciate that and they embrace you like one of them. And for me, that's the minimum requirement as a football player.
Yeah.
You know, you must put sweat on your jersey no matter what. You can have a bad day with your dribbling skills. You can have a bad day with your free kicks.
You having a bad day with your dribbling skills, I can't imagine that.
Well, it can happen.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it can happen, but you can never have a bad day running.
I hear you.
So it's all about first thing first, effort, and then the rest will follow.
So that appreciation level for you, Germany versus English Premiership, who do you think as a player? I mean, I know we'll get to the Bundesliga, your ambassadorship, and all the hard work that you continue to do even up until now. But from a fan appreciation towards you, where was it at its highest?
Not even in both countries.
Not even?
Yeah.
Turkey?
It was in Turkey.
I thought so.
It was in Fenerbahce.
Those fans are mad.
They are crazy. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before, you know. People die for their club. They die for the love of the game.
But what is it about Turkey, though? Because, yes, we've seen Turkey as a national team pop up, do great things, but never consistent. And yet the local leagues that we were talking about earlier on, it is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's that maybe consistency, you know, and also in terms of quality, you know, it is divided.
Yeah.
You know, you have the big four, and then you have others that looks like they are making up the league. You know, you can always predict who the top four will be and who the
rest will be.
be.
So almost like a Scotland.
Exactly. So, you know, I think that's why it looks like it affects them when it comes to Champions League and all that.
Sauter, kommen Sie nah an den Monitor ran und genießen Sie. Es folgt ein Top-Highlight. Okocha, hier ist er, Okocha. JJ Okocha, immer noch. JJ Okocha, noch ein Dreher, noch einer und drin. Da reißt er sein Trikot vom Leib, tanzt noch einen Samba fürs ausflippende Publikum. Ekstase im Waldstadion. Das haben wir seit Libuda nicht mehr erlebt. Das ist das Beste, was der Fußball bieten kann. Oh, wie ist das schön. Oh, wie ist das schön. Liebe Zuschauer, die Zeit für meinen Bericht ist zwar...
You remember that?
Oh, definitely.
I was going to walk out of the studio if you said not. And obviously you understood the language, so you have no problem with that. And that's why you decided to bring it authentically to you. Walk us through that moment, man, because, wow.
Well, it was 1993.
Yeah.
Eintracht Frankfurt. And I remember I was a regular before we got a new coach, you know, Top Muller. And you know how it is sometimes. If they want to get you off the team, they will say that they want to change the tactics of the team. They want to change the shape of the team. But you will be the only one.
They're changing.
That they will change, you know. So it happened on that game that he said that he wanted to change something, and I found myself on the bench, you know, and I looked at the team shape, it was still the same, you know. So second half, we were winning 2-1, but the opponent, Castro, then was putting a lot of pressure on us. He now called me and said, you have to go in and try and keep the ball and relieve the pressure a bit from our side. I said, okay. And we got a counter. And when the ball got to me, you know, I had one thing in mind to try and finish it. But then I didn't plan to hold on to it that long, you know. But whenever I raise my head, I will see an opponent. Whenever I raise my head, I will see an opponent. And I had the patience, you know, to wait for the right time to shoot. And luckily for me, it worked out very well. I didn't even know that I held the ball that long. It was after the game when I watched it, you know, and the manager clearly told me that had it been I didn't score that goal, that as long as he remains the manager of the team, that
You'd never play.
never play again, you know.
And he was being serious.
I think so, yeah. Because why that, you know? Everyone else was celebrating me. Everyone else was congratulating me, you know. But for him to come in the middle of it to say, you know, it was a bit personal. But, I mean, for me, football comes with a lot of risk as well. You have to be brave. You have to be, you know, willing to face the challenges that comes with it, you know. And for me, that was like me stamping my authority to say, I belong here. I deserve to be in the starting 11.
Or was it just them being, in a way, protective over their hero, Oliver Kahn, who's just been made to mincemeat?
You can say that, you know. I mean, in every country that I've played, they always like to promote their own. But you have to get them in that position that they've got no choice but to recognize your talent.
Did you ever speak to Oliver Kahn?
If you know him, you don't want to get close to him after humiliating him like that. So I've been avoiding him.
Even after retirement,
well, I saw him once, but
yeah,
we never discussed that, you know.
At all?
No, at all.
But I'm sure it burns deep down inside.
Well, of course. You can see it in his face, but I mean, we just have to avoid discussing that.
I mean, this is a man who was the face of the World Cup in Germany. I mean, his posters coming out from the airport right across, you know, it was Oliver Kahn. He was the poster boy of that.
But you know, when you're playing, you don't, somebody like me, I don't really look at my opponent.
Yeah.
You know, I focus solely on my own duty, you know, my own job. You know.
But when you say you watch it now, and you are quite fascinated by how much time you took on the ball, I also, as a fan, would think, oh, sure, okay, now he's risking it. Like, okay, shoot now, yeah. But then it gets more beautiful because bodies are flying all over the place. Yeah. And you're like, yes, this is the kind of football that I enjoy to watch, especially when, in the end, there's a goal. I mean, you see attempts similar to this now, and it's Messi, and everybody celebrates and is happy to see that. I mean, Ronaldo would do it every time, the step-overs, etc. What do you make of the perception that has been given to those two versus a perception that would have been given to a JJ Okocha?
Well, I think that's the downside of us coming from this continent.
Yeah.
You know, they will always see us as third world.
Yeah.
You know, human beings, you know, no matter what you do, you know. Sometimes, I mean, then they see us as if we're not sellable. And that's why most of the Ballon d'Or and all that will go to Europeans or South Americans, you know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, us as Africans, we've got different challenges.
Yeah.
You know, for us from day one, it's all about surviving. For us from day one, we face different challenges. Yeah. You know, so you go there with that mindset. You know, I'm here to save a community.
Yeah.
I'm here to have a brighter future. You know, yes, it's great to have cabinet full of trophies, but if you're hungry after then I mean nobody will help you. You
Can't
know?
eat the trophies.
Exactly, you know, and especially as an African, you might struggle to get a job afterwards. So you think about security as well, you know. So my focus was more on my future, securing my future, making sure that I'm comfortable and my children and my community, if I can help, you know, to an extent, will have a better future.
You mentioned, and I just want one word. I have to go for a break. You mentioned the word Ballon d'Or. This year's one should have been won by who?
No comment.
That's 2 words.
I don't know.
Change.
You're gonna get me in trouble.
No, not at all. It's happened. It's happened.
I mean, whoever they gave it to deserves it. You know, it's there for a reason, and I think it depends on
If you were a
it
judge,
depends on what they are looking for.
But if you were a
know?
judge, who would you give it to?
That's a tough one, and maybe that's why I'm not a judge.
Hashtag MSW live on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. Hashtag MSW. Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
As I'm listening to the interview, it's actually sad to hear that one of our best players was treated badly when she was out in Spain. So my question basically to Nomvula Haula, how would she motivate a player like Gabriela, who's on the rise, who's young and doesn't know a lot about life in Europe?
Youngsters like Gabriela.
Follow your dreams, because what I spoke about right now is only the rough patches in my journey. I've had an incredible time in the United States playing collegiate soccer.
Voted among only 11 players considered as players of the decade at Louisiana Tech University 2019. Respect.
The only dream that I've been chasing is my own.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW. Friday nights, always.
This is how we do it.
About our beloved legends. Pull up your chair. Let's chat legendary stuff. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
And it's exactly what we are chatting about here tonight. It is a Friday. It is JJ Okocha, center stage. My guest tonight. See a lot of excited people on social media. Say, oh my goodness, are you guys playing around with us? No, we're not. No, not at all. Not at all. That was JJ's job when he was a football player. Is he would show you, like play the show me your number, that as they call it here in South Africa. Enjoy the moment. So much to talk about as far as he's concerned. Maybe I'll get his thoughts as well about the Africa Cup of Nations coming up next year. And it sounds like a long time. When I say next year, it's literally next month. That's how close the Africa Cup of Nations is. He's somebody who'd be no stranger to AFCONs and maybe the rise of the Super Eagles. JJ, everybody talks about that. Like South Africa talks about the rise of Bafana. It never happens. What about from a Nigerian perspective?
Well, I think we're on the same boat now. We won it last in 2013, I think. It's obvious that it's not our bet right now. You know, you have to end it now. You know, the gap have been breached. Other nations are proving stubborn now, and rightly so.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to prove that you're the best or amongst the best by winning your matches.
But what's it going to take to get back to the Nigeria we know? What's it going to take? I mean, you got so many superstars, JJ, playing in Europe.
Well, I think it's all about structure, putting the right structure in place,
Yeah.
because we can't tell you that we definitely know who the next stars will be, because there's no continuity. You know, all we do is that, there's a Nigerian playing in Belgium, he's scoring goals, invite him. There's a defender somewhere in Vietnam, invite him. You know, we don't really keep track of our players. We need to put a structure in place and have a model. You know, that was what we had during our time. You know, we had a foreign coach, but he was based in Nigeria.
Yeah.
He was scouting for local players, and he built a team. And I knew how difficult it was for a new player to get into the squad. You must be extremely good to get in, you know. But now we're all over the place.
What about you, though, as far as leadership is concerned? It's the same thing in South Africa. Everyone keeps saying, hey, Lucas Radebe must come and be the president of SAFA. We've seen in Cameroon, a legend of the game take charge as the president of an association.
But you see, the truth is that it's highly political. They make it difficult for people like us to get involved, you know, because they see us as a threat. You know, so what they do is they get one or two ex-players that are struggling, you know, to say, we still have former players involved.
Yeah.
You know, but we really need to get the ones that will add value to what we're doing involved. And that's, for me, the only way to progress.
So you would look at it, but only if it is not as politicized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I think we need you as a continent to be there.
Well, I mean, I would love to at some point, you know, but it won't be fair to go into a fight that I know that I won't win.
Yeah.
You know, so what's the need?
You know what the need is? The need is Bundesliga. The need is 60 years. The need is you being in the center of it all. And, you know, you guys were here last night. There was a big celebration. Talk me through that, because it's hard to believe that this league professionalized. It's 60 years now.
Well, it's, for me, one of the best leagues in the world, you know, the best organized league in the world. A league that you can never hear that a team is going into administration. You know, that shows how strong and how well structured the league is. The league that gave me the opportunity to become a professional.
Yes.
You know, and I'm saying that because it's the only league that I've seen that is patient with young players. You know, they give you time to mature. They give you time to grow. You know, and I can give you a few examples of foreign players that have gone to Germany, mature and go back to home, you know, or even go further to a bigger clubs, you know. The current one is Jude Bellingham.
Yes.
You know, there's Sancho, you know, and many more.
Yeah.
You know, so it is a league that is very attractive, plays attractive football. They scores more goals than any other league in Europe, you know, and their attendance is awesome, you know. So, but maybe the difficulty that we have or we are having maybe the language barrier, you know. But we've started to reach out to people, you know, trying to promote the league, get them involved, you know, and we've been doing a great job so far.
And you as an ambassador, I was saying to you off air, how many years has it been? And without answering, you answered me because it showed that it's been a relationship that stems many, many years. What does that say to you now, post-playing, and the difficulties that you were describing in the beginning of our conversation? in just trying to get through into the Bundesliga, make a name for yourself, have to face coaches that probably didn't like your style, but the rest of the world liked your style. And now the actual Bundesliga itself has you as an ambassador.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better now and a lot easier now. I would say that Bundesliga and Africa have got a long relationship, and I think that's why I'm involved, because now I can tell my story. Now I can tell people about Bundesliga. I can share my experience, and I've realized also because of the other leagues that I played in, that it's the same everywhere. You need to adapt. You need to understand the local. You can't go to a place and want to change the people. You have to change to learn how they live, how they behave, to learn about the culture. And of course, you will be accepted. I think there's discrimination everywhere, even back home in Nigeria.
Yeah,
there's discrimination. But if you understand this, sometimes it might take a while. If you're not that exposed. But now I know better. Now I can tell people how it is. And what to expect. And that is a wonderful place to play as a professional football player.
So you were not surprised that an entire England captain in Harry Kane moves from an EPL. He's probably comfortable at Tottenham Hotspur, joins Bundesliga, not just any team, top team, and scores for fun.
For me, that speaks volume, because normally who would have thought that English player, let alone the national team captain, is playing in Germany. It shows how far the league have come. It shows how attractive the league is, it's a exciting moment for the league.
Talk about exciting. Tomorrow you're off to Alex. Tell me more about this whole partnership that you have with Safe Hub with the Bundesliga.
I think it's a great partnership, a great platform for somebody like me, who wants to give back. We've created a program tomorrow whereby kids will have a tournament, and for me, it goes beyond the tournament. What we are trying to do is to create a place that will keep children busy, and limit the crime rate, on the street, and also it provides job opportunities, and I think it is great. It is what we need in some areas in Africa, in some towns in Africa, where crime rates are a bit high, because the kids are not busy, and we know that football unites.
Almost like a safe space.
Safe hub.
Yeah,
for kids, most especially the less privileged ones, but it's open for everyone, and we use that to make sure that we keep them in school as well.
What about you playing? Are you going to kick around? Because even if you're wearing, top expensive shoes, I'm sure if there's a ball that's there, you're not going to look at it and say, oh, what's this? You're going to want to be a part of it.
Well, I would say that I'm a junkie when it comes to football, in as much as I try to respect myself. I might get carried away. I might keep it up a bit.
No, but we want to see that. We want to see that all the time.
Then I will do it.
Thank you. So I think people will just go to Alex tomorrow because there is that Bundesliga commitment to grassroots football in Africa. As JJ was saying, creating a safe space all around. Tell me about this trophy, man. I've been looking at it, and I say I have not. Am I allowed to call it a trophy or a plate?
Yeah, it's called Schale, which is like a plate, but it's of course it's a wonderful trophy.
Yeah,
and I was saying that this is the closest I've come to winning it, you know.
So
But I
missed it all the time.
I finished second with Eintracht, never won it.
Wow.
Because of Bayern
Yes.
dominance. But I mean, it's a wonderful trophy.
And it's on a heavily guarded tour here in South Africa because I mean, I'm looking at that. I'm even scared to touch it. Usually when they bring trophies here, I'm the first one to be like, yeah, this one I'm like, It looks like it can shock you. It can do all sorts of things. But I mean, it's a beautiful piece of art. And if you are watching and following the conversation on YouTube, you'll see it. We've got the shot right there. And we'll take a couple of pictures with JJ with it as well. I mean, I always wanted to ask you about what happened with you and you, Heinkes. Why was he so anti JJ Okocha?
Well, it wasn't just me, you know.
Tony Yeboah as well.
Tony Yeboah and Mauricio Godinho.
Yeah.
It was a funny situation, you know, because we were doing well, you know, even before he came.
Yeah.
But he wanted to change things, and we thought that he wanted to change things in the right way, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just like a Friday training, you know. Friday trainings are like easy trainings. You do 6v2, you know, to warm up, and then some crosses and finishes, and then you go to the hotel and get ready for the game next day. But after the 6v2 and the crossing and finishing, he called us together, you know, and started shouting that we were joking, you know, during the training. And
Because I said you weren't taking it seriously.
yeah, that was what he said, and we were looking at each other. And then he said that 3 of us have to come back in the evening to train.
In the evening?
Yeah, because we always train, the last training,
Yeah.
it's always in the morning, and then we go to camp in the evening and play the next day in the afternoon. So he said we have to come to training in the evening, but just 3 of us. And we were the only 3 foreigners in the team.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. So we said, okay. In the evening we came, he took us to the forest, and we ran.
To the forest?
Yeah. We all normally go for fitness training there.
Yeah.
Monday morning. But he took us there.
On the Friday?
On the Friday with those that won't play on Saturday, those that are not part of the squad for the game. So he ran us. After that, Tony said that it's rubbish, that what he's doing is rubbish, that he can't take it, you know. So he said, oh, you can go home. So the other guy, Mauricio Godinho, said that he's tired, that he can't play, you know. He said, okay, you go home. And he asked me, what about me?
Yeah.
I said, what do you want me to say, you know? Well, the whole thing is a bit too much for me as well, you know, but I'm in shock. He said, okay, go and see the doctor. So I went to the doctor. The doctor gave me paracetamol. I said, I don't have headache. You know, that I said that the whole thing is too much for me. So he said, I can go home as well, you know. So we all went home. And then next day, we played, we won without us.
Yeah.
Midweek, we had a Europa Cup then, you know, it was called the UEFA Cup. And then we won again, and that was it. And we were told to
leave.
To look for another club.
Wow. Hey, it's rough in Europe, and it almost sounds like our guest last night, Nomvula Juale, who was here talking about her experience in Spain. And I think listening to that, there's similarities on many, many different fronts. An amazing journey. JJ, don't be a stranger. Next time, do pop through. Hopefully, we do get to see you even in Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, for the Africa Cup of Nations. Who knows, you know? Maybe we'll be there as MSW. And do join the panel, sir, so that we get the best out of JJ Okocha. An honor, a privilege to have spoken to you today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
Pleasure
indeed.
is mine.
Yeah, the legendary, the one and only JJ Okocha. Catch you on Monday.
#MSW Live.
Now.
on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. At the same time.
#MSW.